once again. Welcome back to WCOBM and the show, What's Up, Vegas Zeitgeist. And again, Mr. Jay Jordan, he's next to me. Hello, thank you for being, again, my guest, and I'm your guest, more or less, because he took a biographical sketch about my life a year or two ago, and he will interview me now about a little bit about me, so that you know a little bit about me as well.
Well,
right?
Thank you. Just a quick recap. Your dad, Richard Norman Alexander, was assigned to the United States Air Force in Europe and met your mother in Germany in the mid-50s. They got married. Your dad was called back to the United States, his military assignments, with the expectation of you and your mom going there. That didn't quite happen, and your mom and you and your mom grew up in Germany. And then as you grew up, you managed to get back to the United States on a visit in 1993, and you returned back to Europe so that your sons could actually finish up their high schooling in Europe. But then, 1996, you thought about getting in touch with your dad. Tell us about that.
Yes, 1996, what happened was I had a friend. She was married, or is still married, I guess, to a gentleman, an American gentleman who was in the military. And they lived in Germany, and they were assigned to go to the United States.
Right.
So, and we're friends, you help each other. And then I said, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a letter to my father, and if you might take this letter with you and maybe find through the military computer some references where my father could be, is, or whatever, that would be awesome. And she said, sure. So she took this letter, 1996, to Tucson. And we talked a lot on the phone, and at the beginning my questions was, of course, did you see something, did you find something, whatever, but it was always no. So okay, so we left it, just send it up to the universe, and let magic happen. So then in 2000 or 2001, I'm not sure exactly what year it was, I flew out to the States to visit her.
Right.
And right before I left again, she said, oh, you know what? You still have that letter here. I said, what letter? Yeah, well, the letter what you wrote to your dad, and we never could address it, actually. Oh, that letter. Okay. Well, you know what? I'm going to take it with me.
Right.
So I took it back to Germany and put it in a drawer. And then, years go by, another year and another year. And then there was always, as I mentioned before, there was always kind of that, I knew that I would stay in the States for the second part of my life. I knew it somehow. It was just a matter of when and, not even how, because, as I said, the universe is going to take care of it somehow. If you really want something, it's going to happen.
So then two things interestingly happened. You were going to go back to the United States to spend the rest of your time in the United States exploring, but all of a sudden you talked to the, I believe the, what do I want to say, the American embassy, and you explained to them that you would like to exercise your rights as a American-born citizen under your dad's name, and they were more than willing to do that, but you needed one thing. You needed a paper signed from your dad. And so
yes.
What happened there?
That was actually, what happened was in the 2003, 2004,
Right.
I lived good life. Kids were grown, done.
Right.
Everything was just focused about me. And I lived in my little town, 100,000 inhabitants, something like that, in the middle of the city at the
Right.
marketplace. And one day there was that gentleman I knew from years before. I hadn't seen him forever. And hey, Doug, what are you doing here? What's up? What's going on? And he said, well, I live in Niceville now. I said, where? What? What's Niceville? Where's Niceville? Well, that's in Florida. I'm a chef over there. Okay. And then, like things all of a sudden start getting their own dynamic. Like, okay, Florida? Never been to Florida. Well, what are you doing there? Well, I'm a chef. If you want to, you can come and visit me. Okay. All right. So, and that was kind of what triggered this situation. Okay, what is next? And the next thing was actually in my mind, I'm going to go down to the States. Then that was when I drove down to Düsseldorf to the consulate, because I knew I can visit, but I want to stay. So how do I do that? I went to the consulate and I told this gentleman, I said, well, this is the story. My mom is German. My father is American. I was born in France. I have the German citizenship, but I would like to stay in the States for the second part of my life.
Right.
And he said, well, actually, that's not a problem, because you are natural citizen
Right.
of the United States. The only thing what you need is, here's a piece of paper, and that's what your dad has to sign, and that's it. And I said, well, but I don't know where my dad is. And he said, and I know you're going to find him.
That's a
And
famous quote.
that's,
And I know you're going to find him.
yes. And that's actually what, as I mentioned before, triggered this own dynamic all of a sudden. I said, well, okay, then let's make that happen. And I, bold like I am, I started selling my furnitures. I stopped getting any orders anymore. I was working still as a cultural manager at my business, and I was kind of gradually getting ready for getting rid of all
Right.
this other stuff,
you could-
so that I could go and be free for it. And then you got to find him.
So now the magic of that original letter had to be updated, right?
Right. And then what I did again was I called my friend in the U.S. and I said, I got to find my dad. I got to find him. And she pointed out at that time, 2004, a pretty new internet tool to it was a kind of a what is it called? Intel search,
Right.
Personal search,
Personnel
whatever.
search, right, yeah.
So what happened was I put this request in for Richard Norman Alexander. I want to find this person, and I got 236 Richard Norman Alexanders. So who's the right one?
Right.
You never know. So then the kind of odyssey started. How do I find the right person? And I start here or there, phone call. Hello, this is Jean Ann Alexander. Are you my father? Nope. Next one. This is Jean Ann Alexander. Do you have a daughter? Nope. So then that was kind of pretty, not the right way to do, and I didn't want to mess up a lot of other families. And
Right.
so I start writing 10 letters and picked randomly out of this 236, 10, and then I took the letter what was already written for 8 years ago, and exactly it was written on the same date. And this story is going to be
To be continued.
in the next show. Thank you so much, and you have a wonderful Halloween.
Thanks, Gene.
Thank you.